Warning, the following audio transmission will forever change your outlook on society. You will no longer believe the narrative. You are about to wake up and see things for what they really are. News, facts, and opinions. This is the Doom Daily Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Doom Daily Show. I am your host, Jester Dooms. Today is Friday, August 7th, 2026. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic morning. Hope that the coffee's hot and the car's started and you have tomorrow off and your boss isn't going to pull some shit on you to ask you to work the weekend last minute. I hope that maybe you got some cool plans for the weekend. Maybe you're going to the beach. Or maybe you're going camping. Or maybe you're going to test drive a new car. You know, maybe you have something cool coming up. Yeah. Now, I want to first off apologize for missing some episodes here. We've been traveling. We're going to get into that on today's show. But the email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. Everyone on social media @JesterDooms. The website, www.jestersvoice.com. Go there, purchase yourself an Apocalyptic Apparel t-shirt, or while you're there, leave us an audio message at the top of the webpage. That would be great. We can use those, you know. Anyway, so I hope you had a fantastic week. Hope all the stars aligned in your favor. Hope it was fantastic. You got all the things you want, ate all the places you wanted to eat. All the food was good. You didn't get horrible diarrhea. You didn't eat the Taco Bell lettuce. You know, all the great, amazing things. Man, it's been a week. Well, actually, maybe coming up on 2 weeks now. So my days are drastically confused, guys. I'm over here in Greece, outside of Kalamata, recording through the Starlink, which is wild. I am 7 hours ahead of you guys on the East Coast of the U.S. I know most of our listeners are based in the U.S., so I'm 7 hours ahead. And it's always been a challenge to try to record here or do anything. So if I sound a little quiet, if I sound a little muffled, I am trying to keep my voice down as to not to piss off the other people in the village. I got screamed at last year because I was talking to one of my friends on the phone. It's 1 a.m. here. He's out in like Utah, and I think they're like mountain time. So I believe that's like 2 hours behind where I am normally. So he's like 9 hours ahead behind me here. So it's like midday for him or whatever. And it's, you know, I'm talking to him at 1 a.m. just like, hey, bud, what's up? How you doing? I had fucking people livid, screaming through this village because some of them don't understand like what's going on. Like, why is this guy just on the phone in the middle of the night? Well, it's because I'm from the U.S. and I'm talking to people back home. Other people know and they just don't care. You're on vacation. Leave the U.S. in the past for now. You go back there. But I was able to bring the Starlink with me, and we've got that up and running. My connection is fantastic. So as long as I plan things accordingly, I should be able to get a few shows out to you guys for the time I'm going to be gone. Now, we typically spend, 3 weeks to a month here. So the next 3 weeks till I return to the States are going to be a little bit hazy as far as, getting out the daily content for the show. But we'll see what happens. The other thing I have to stress, Producer Scooter, you need to listen. Producer Scooter, I don't know if he's listening. He's just over there licking the window in the corner currently. I really disconnect when I'm over here as far as what's going on in the States, as far as what's happening in the news. It has to be something really big and eye-catching for me to be like, let me put the vacation on hold and read about what's happening in shit fuck United States. Like, that's what I have to do. Not to mention, toward the end of the trip, your phone starts to run out of data. So you're in this position of, do we use the data? Do we renew the data? Do we just wait till we're on Wi-Fi? And sometimes you do that. You're like, fuck it. I am not paying $20 to renew my phone for 3 days. Fuck that. I'll just use Wi-Fi and then I'll talk to everybody when I get back. That's okay. But this year we bring the Starlink. Thank you, Elon. It's no problem. We're connected to the internet. It's very nice. I like it. So we're going to see what we can't keep up with and see what we can't do. But I make no promise. I make no promise at all. I'm going to put out daily shows. So Producer Scooter, maybe you have to suffer a little bit, but less work for you, so it's win-win. I was really expecting to put out more episodes on this trip over, but this trip did not work out accordingly whatsoever at all. And that is going to be the primary basis of the show. But before we really tear into that, I got to tell you guys something really, really cool that happened. So for those of you that have been listening to the It's Doomsday podcast for years, you may remember somebody by the name of Ba Ram Oo. Ba Ram Oo is a friend of mine I met on the internet that lives in the lovely country of Scotland. If you guys don't remember, we did a segment on the show called World News with Jester and Ba. Now, somehow, miraculously, with our time zones of being 5 hours apart and us having crazy schedules and whatnot, we somehow managed to get together like once a week to do this segment. And it was a really cool segment. We didn't keep it going forever. I wish we kind of did. But I mean, honestly, I think we would have ran out the shit to talk about eventually. I think it would have happened and it probably would have transitioned. But anyway, the point of this segment of the show was just to, let me know what's happening on your side of the world. And I let you know what's happening on my side of the world, in real time as I'm seeing it before you get the shitty information from the media going all the way across the world, because we know shit gets convoluted once it gets into the news. We know shit gets convoluted once the story leaves the original reporting person's hands and moves on. So the stories we're getting from over where he's at are drastically different from the way he's telling the story and vice versa. Okay. But I did get to stop off in Scotland and I did get to sit down and have a lovely dinner with Ba Ram Oo, meet him in person for the first time. And we recorded a lovely 30-minute episode for you guys on AI and the future of AI potentially in this world. So that is being edited as we speak and will be coming out soon. So just make sure you're following and you've got notifications turned on to get that episode. Anyway, we'll be back right after these messages.
Can't get enough of Jester Dooms? Check out his other show, It's Doomsday Podcast, available on all podcast platforms. That's It's Doomsday Podcast.
Back to the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Doom Daily Show. I am your host, Jester Dooms. The email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. Everywhere on social media at Jester Dooms. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the show. Okay, so we're going to break into these travel woes that I experienced. And it has really turned me off to ever using United Airlines again. So, my family and I, we head to the airport for a scheduled flight. Okay? We check our bags. We do all the things. We're hanging out. I start a TikTok live on my phone and we're hanging out at the airport, right? Kids are having their snacks or whatever. Flight gets delayed. That's okay. No big deal. Flights get delayed. We're flying into Newark, New Jersey. So we're flying in there and they're delaying flights due to weather. Apparently there's like bad thunderstorms happening. We're like, oh, okay. Delays happen. No big deal. Well, they delay the flight again. Second delay. Okay. Again, things happen. No big deal. All right. My wife just books our hotel in Scotland. I believe our hotel and our rent-a-car in Scotland. Like she just gets done booking these things. Okay. She gets up, she goes and gets a coffee, comes back while she's gone. Flight gets canceled. I had a friend drop us off at the airport and take our vehicle back to our house, and he had to go back to work. So we had no way to really call anybody or get back from the airport, right? So we're just stuck. I did not have contingency plan because I didn't expect flight to be canceled. Okay, canceled due to weather, apparently. All right. We rent a car. We're like, fuck it. We'll rent a car at the airport. We'll go home. We won't even take the suitcases out of the car. We'll just go in, go to sleep, wake up, catch the flight out. We'll drive the car back, drop it off, no problem, right? Okay. We're home sleeping. My wife gets a notification very, very early morning, 3, 4 a.m., somewhere in that neighborhood. And the notification was your flight is canceled. Our, now today's flight for Newark, New Jersey, connecting us to Glasgow, Scotland, is canceled. And we're like, what the fuck? Okay, what the fuck is happening in Newark? Again, they're saying it's due to weather. We're like, okay. And this is why I say fuck United. So out of our airport, they canceled their flight into Newark. But other airports were still flying into Newark with the same airline. Did you just not have enough people on flight? Were these passengers not the priority? What is going on? So we like, fuck it. What's going on? Where are the flights at? Who's still flying into Newark? Because we have to get to Newark to get to Glasgow, Scotland. All right. We're already delayed a day now. Okay. So they tell us there's flights out of Atlanta. I'm like, okay. All right. That's fine. So what we do is we call the rental car company and say, hey, could we just return this car at the Atlanta International Airport? They say no, that they can't do that. They'd have to charge me extra and like all these things. So I said, fuck it. I get on govx.com. I book another rental car through a different company. We drive back to the airport, drop that rental car off, pick up another one, and we drive our happy asses all the way to fucking Atlanta to get this flight, right? Because they're still connecting flights out of Atlanta as we're en route to Atlanta. We get to Atlanta, flight's delayed. There's 2 flights going into Newark that are United. Like, the gates are across from each other. There's like an early flight and a later flight. Delayed. So we're like, what the hell? So people got so shitty that they started leaving the airport and they went with different airlines or whatever, right? They were just like, fuck it, we can't do this. So my wife, I don't know if she like jerked this guy off or what, but she goes and talks to this guy. And he's like, listen, the flight you guys were on are probably going to get canceled. That one may fly out. You want me to switch over to that flight? And she's like, yes, absolutely. So meanwhile, at this point, we've been sitting in Atlanta for like eight hours, I think, somewhere around there. We finally get on a flight, the faster or the earlier flight that was continuously delayed because they knew they were canceling our flight. All these people left. They had seats open up, so they throw us on this plane. Okay. We finally take off out of Atlanta at about midnight, shortly after midnight. This guy comes over, and they've been like getting people on the plane and deplaning because of canceled flights. And this guy says, listen, you guys need to get on this plane very quick in under 25 minutes. He says, because once you're out there and you're on that tarmac, like they can't cancel you. So everybody just needs to like ask questions later. Like if you have a question, get to Newark, land, then come back and ask me, like, because we're done. We got to get you guys on this plane. So we're like, okay, cool. And at this point, I kind of just stand up and I'm like, everybody listen, don't do anything stupid or whatever I said. And we get on the plane and finally take off. Well, we obviously miss our connecting flight to Glasgow. So now we're like 2 days behind. Okay. The next connecting flight to Glasgow is not like till later that evening. So again, we're back sitting at the airport. Delayed due to maintenance issues this time, not weather. They end up telling us they can't get our plane ready, so they have to switch our planes. And it was again like same situation, like after midnight, finally getting on a fucking plane and going. Finally, we land in Glasgow, which the flight to Glasgow wasn't too bad. It's a pretty quick flight. I got to sleep on the plane a little bit, which it's very hard for me to sleep on planes. But we got over there to Glasgow. All right. We were supposed to have 3 to 4 days in Scotland. We had a night. So we get the Glasgow, and the thought of renting a car now is just off the table. We're just like, listen, we don't have time to go explore. We don't have time to do anything. There's no sense of renting a car. Let's just get like an Uber or a Lyft or something and get to this hotel that's reasonably close to Ba. We'll meet up with him. We'll go get dinner and hang out for a little while. And then we'll just jump on the plane in the morning and fly into Dublin because that was the next part of the stuff. It was supposed to be go to Scotland, dick around, meet Ba, go explore, maybe hit the Highlands, do some cool things, see some castles and whatnot, and then, pop over to Ireland, kind of do the same thing, and then eventually end up in Greece. Okay, that was the overall plan. Scotland got cut very, very short. Everything was still pre-booked for Ireland, so we're like, fuck it, we're going to Ireland. Basically got to hang out with Ba for a few hours, record a show, and take off. Okay? And with that, we're going to go to break. We'll be right back after these messages.
Jester from It's Doomsday Podcast and the Doom Daily Show here. Do you ever find yourself overloaded with way too much information? Too many logins, too many passwords, too many websites for stuff you like? Yeah, I'm the same way. You don't have to worry about that with the Doom Daily Show and It's Doomsday Podcast. Let's make it simple. Just visit linkttree.com/JesterDooms. Add it to your bookmarks. That way, when you need to find the right information, it's right there, under a tap of your finger or a click of your mouse. Go to linktree.com/JesterDooms. Get it, got it, done. Remember, no one has all the answers, but this will provide you with a place to start. linktree.com/JesterDooms. And now, on with the conversation. And here's Jester.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Doom Daily Show. I'm your host, Jester Dooms, the website, www.jestersvoice.com. Go there, pick yourself up an Apocalyptic Apparel t-shirt, shoot us an email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com, everywhere on social media at Jester Dooms. And remember, producer Scooter is always watching. Okay, so we wake up in the morning in Scotland at the airport, get a taxi cab to take us to the airport. And at this point in time, getting to Scotland, there's things that nobody told me about Scotland or Ireland that I guess people just assume other people know. Did you guys know they have a really long evening in the summers, like really, really long daylight hours? Like it was light out till well after 9:30, close to 10 o'clock. And then it started to glow outside at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. It was starting to glow outside. They get extremely long daylight over there in the summer. It's absolutely wild. No one's ever told me that before. I had no idea that they had such long daylight hours. That's like a paradise if you want to get things done outside. Like I fight the daylight where I live. Anyway, so that was something that wasn't told to me. The next thing that I thought was really interesting was everybody failed to mention, maybe it's just common knowledge I didn't know, but everybody failed to mention that they drive right-hand drive cars there, but on the left side of the road. So I was thrown for a total loop when I got there. And then when I eventually, got to Ireland and rented a car and started driving, all Dooms here driving on the left side of the road, it is very bizarre and outside of what you're normally used to. And, muscle memory, like we're in the car with Bod, he's driving, I'm in the front seat on the left-hand side of the vehicle where you'd normally be driving. He stops, I go to put the vehicle in park, I'm not the one driving. Just that muscle memory kicks in and I reach down to put the car in park and I'm like, wait, I'm not even the one that's driving. So imagine just that portion of your muscle memory, me trying to put the car in park sitting on the passenger side, which is normally my driver's side. Transition that into merging on a highway, getting off of a highway, and everything is to the left, as to where in the U.S. everything's to the right. Absolutely no right turns, no rights on reds, no left on reds, like, nothing. Like it's so just vastly different driving. Anyway, I got pretty used to it after a few days. It was no problem. We're good. It's no problem at all. Absolutely fell in love with Ireland. I cannot wait to go back to Ireland. The weather there is absolutely fantastic. So I'm a big Halloween person. Like I love the fall. And over there just feels like that crisp, clean fall air that you get. Like it's like that in the middle of the day. And this is August. It's fantastic. My sinuses were so clear over there. And the things you would worry about, like, us, all the shit we do out in the wilderness, like I'm always worried about like copperheads, rattlesnakes, bears, coyotes, wolves, like all these things. There's like nothing over there, man. There's no wolves over there. There's no bears over there. There's no snakes over there. There's like nothing. Like they got a couple spiders and all of them I think are non-venomous. And your only thing you would really have to worry about encountering over there is like a badger or potentially stepping on a hedgehog, because we did see a live hedgehog on the side of the road. We didn't know they had hedgehogs there. So we were like, wow, okay, it's pretty crazy. I mean, they don't even have like poison ivy or poison sumac or poison oak. Like they don't have these things there. They've got some stinging nettles, but that's about it. So just the idea of if you're a wilderness outdoors enthusiast, like, you should feel right at home out there. Like there's no natural threats to you. You have really nothing to worry about. You can like let the kids run. Worst case, they're going to get their ass kicked by a badger, So we decided to do some cool things in Ireland. We went to Malahide Castle, which is really cool. We went to the tallest waterfall in Ireland, known as the Devil's Chimney, and we had to hike up to get to it. So we did a pretty nice hike in Ireland. And my wife's looking at me like I'm nuts. I'm just like plucking berries off the side of the trail and eating them and feeding them to the kids. She's like, y'all are going to get sick. How do you know you can eat this? I'm like, these are blackberries. I can see. I can identify blackberries. We're good. We're going to be fine. So we hike up to this waterfall and it's drizzling. It rains a lot, there. And it was just absolutely beautiful to see like just a different region of the world. I mean, Greece is absolutely like where we're at now is breathtaking, but Ireland is breathtaking in a different capacity. So we hit a few more castles. Anybody, just on the castle thing real quick to backtrack, if you're flying into Dublin, as soon as you get off that plane, if it's open, go take a tour of Malahide Castle. Go to Malahide, do the ferry trail, go check out the grounds, go try to pet the peacock, like do all the things. Don't pet the peacock. I'm just fucking with you. Don't mess with the wildlife. Okay. But there is a peacock that runs around. You can get a picture of it. Don't try to touch it. They have a nice little gift shop there if you're looking for souvenirs for people. They got some food and coffee and stuff there so you can replenish yourself after your airplane ride. But as soon as you land in Dublin, go to Malahide Castle. You will not be disappointed. And do all the things there at Malahide Castle. Take the tour, do all the shit. It's worth it. We ended up going and traveling north after that. up to Belfast. And in Belfast, we went to the Titanic Museum, the Titanic Experience, which Belfast is actually part of the UK in Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland is part of the UK. Like, they use pounds up there as to where, regular Ireland uses euros. So a lot of people don't know that there's a divide line, but there is. Now, I had no idea, and I guess my brain never processed it, that the Titanic was built in Ireland, in Belfast, in the UK. I didn't know that. I guess everybody just, we have these depictions of the ship like rolling out of England or something, I guess. I don't know. It's very weird. So we're there where they built the Titanic. And I mean, the exhibit's totally cool. They got like a little car cable that you could ride on and go through this little experience. They talk about how the ship was built and people that worked on the ship and what it was like to be there working and how they did their work days and all these artifacts from, it's a very, very cool, wicked experience. But for me, sometimes the most basic things are the most impressive. And this is what impressed me. Now, for those of you that don't know, I am a welder by trade. I got my start actually working in crappy shipyards up north, repairing boats and barges, right? So I've been around ships being dry docked, being dropped off cradles and, fixing and banging and welding. That's kind of what I got my start doing in the welding industry before I went to school and stuff. Like, that's what I did. And to be like at an actual shipyard, like knowing, like me and my brain, knowing the smells that you would have smelled and the sounds you would have heard and just the things you would have seen and just, the smell of people's food and farts and raw metal, like just all the things that, taking my brain back to when I did that kind of work. It was really cool, but this was the cool part. So where the Titanic was initially built, all right, they had their cradles that the ship sat on so they could launch it, right? They have almost like, their railroad ties in the ground that they build Caribbean up. They build the ship on this and they wheel it over and they launch it after the fact. That's how, they get the boat in the water. On the site where the Titanic was built, they actually took paint and painted on the ground, on the concrete where the ship would have sat and the actual size of the ship. So like where the stern is, where the stacks were, where the lifeboats were, the edge of the port side and starboard side of the boat, right? So you're actually able to kind of walk around on this concrete that's painted the exact size of the Titanic, and it gives you a sense of, man, like, just from walking to the bow to the stern or walking from port side to starboard, you get a sense of how big this ship actually was. And it's not just the idea that, you're retracing the steps of thousands of workers that worked to build this ship in that exact size. So as you're sitting there thinking, man, this sucks walking this whole length. I walk down, now I got to walk all the way back. You got to think about guys like coming in for their, 11 and a half hour shift with a sledge on their back, getting ready to pound iron the whole day. Because they didn't weld shit back then. They hot riveted everything. Now imagine that. But just being physically there on the grounds and just imagining what that place was like over 100 years ago, man, absolutely just captivates the mind. Anyway, so Belfast and the Titanic experience was very, very cool. Highly recommend doing that if you're going to Ireland. And then we bebopped around, hit a couple more castles, did that hike, went and got some food, went to some really good restaurants, man. We went to a place called Fitzpatrick, which I guess like is kind of like their commercialized thing, maybe our version of Chili's or TGI Fridays or Ruby Tuesdays or something, I guess, equivalent to that. It was okay. Not bad. Really couldn't complain. Portions are big. I got a French onion soup there that they actually use cheddar on, which you guys know they don't use cheddar on. French onion soup in the States. It was okay, but the broth in that was fantastic. I don't know if they put a little bit of Guinness in there or something else, but the broth had a definitely a different, more unique flavor profile. So we go from there and we end up traveling south. Couldn't get a hotel. The area we went to, apparently there was some cycling event going on and it was all booked up. So we ended up staying with this old couple at this B&B, right? I mean, looks like the walls were going to bleed. B&B. Kids had their own room separate from the wife and myself, and we were like kind of nervous at first, like, what if the kids get out and walk around or whatever? The ones known to like get lost in the middle of the night looking for a bathroom in strange places. So we just like, well, we're going to chance it. We're going to see how things go. older couple, absolutely nice. If we're ever out that way, I want to stay there again. They were really hospitable. The husband was really awesome. He talked to me for a while. Apparently, he's been to the States before, and he's suggesting all these awesome places for us to go, like hiking trails and stuff, like all the things I'm into. He's like, oh, yeah, here's a brochure on this because my son-in-law goes here and my blah, 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 blah. I'm like, cool, man. If we're ever back through this way, we'll come back. So we ping-ponged through there, and we end up stopping that evening in Galway. And we ended up in Galway, and Galway is like kind of a pimpin' spot to be. All right. We went to an Irish McDonald's. I haven't been to McDonald's in like fucking 3 or 4 years, but we went to an Irish McDonald's to experience that. I probably won't go back to McDonald's for another 4 years, but there's a video on TikTok. You guys go check that out on the TikTok page. And then we went from there back to Dublin. And at some point in this journey, we hit one of the national Irish history museums, which is really cool. We got to see a lot of Ireland's history, and like I had no idea Ireland was such like a big honeybee culture. I didn't know this, so we got to see all that in the museum and see all the other things. Everybody knows about the sheep and the wool, I guess, but the honeybees I didn't know were such a big deal. So we ended up going back down into Dublin. We hit another castle along the way, which is also pretty cool. Got some food at the hotel airport. Had a Guinness, first Guinness I've ever had in Ireland. Probably won't be the last Guinness I ever have in Ireland because I really want to go back. Yeah, it was definitely a really good time. Also in Ireland, they have like the world's fattest seagulls. These fuckers are big. I didn't know that they had, like, I didn't know seagulls got this big. I mean, they were like scary to look at. Like, these birds look like they could kick your ass. Like, and I'm wondering if they're not like a crossbred or like a hybrid bird, but they were, I mean, I lived in Florida for 10 fucking years. These were bigger than the seagulls we had there substantially, like 3 times their size. I'm not exaggerating. They're big ass seagulls. Anyway, so we had to catch our flight into Athens, Greece early as shit. I think we ended up getting to the airport just after 4 a.m. I think they started boarding our flight about 5:30 a.m. And we got to Greece. We have been in Greece for a few days now, and I'm finally to the point where I could start recording a couple shows, maybe do some content. I'm like calming down, getting into the routine. And now for the rest of the trip, it's beaches, booze, and food, man. Like every day we wake up, we go to the beach, we hang out there 6-7 hours, come back to the house, take a nap, wake up, maybe go out for the evening, and come back and wake up and do it all over again. So I will be here till about the end of the month. So like I said, I'm going to try to do whatever content I can do and get out whatever I can get out. If you haven't done so already, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the show because that's how it grows. And we will see you guys on the next exciting episode of the Doom Daily Show. Producer Scooter, if you would, hit that button, sir.
News, facts, and opinions. This is the Doom Daily Show.